Okay, today I'm going to talk to Beau about bed and breakfast financing using SBA loans. So welcome, Beau.
All right. Welcome. Hello, hello. Yeah, it's exciting to be here and talk about what I love talking about, SBA financing.
Cool. Well, the first question is, can you start by explaining why bed and breakfasts are such popular investments for SBA financing?
We're seeing a big shift of people that got into the short-term rental space in single families, and then with all the regulation in different counties, towns, cities, etc., people are like, well, I don't want to buy an investment property that's only in a cash flow if it's a short-term rental. And if regulations change, what can I do? They really like the hospitality industry. So naturally, there's a big shift to bed and breakfast, inns, and RV parks, things like that. And there's no better way to finance them than SBA.
What types of SBA loans are available for financing a B&B, and how do they differ?
So you have the SBA 7A, which is kind of like the Swiss Army knife, jack of all trades. You can use that for business acquisition with no collateral or with collateral. The reason I utilize it most often is because it's the most flexible. You can also build in working capital. If you're well capitalized and you want long-term fixed debt, you would utilize the SBA 504. There's different pros and cons to both loan products. We always do a competitive analysis between the two loan products and leave it in the hands of the borrower. And sometimes it's a small acquisition where it doesn't make sense to do a 504. Sometimes it's a value add and you want to refinance in a few years. You might not want to do a 504 because it's got a longer prepayment penalty. So there's a lot of pros and cons to each.
What are the key eligibility requirements for getting approved for an SBA loan for a B&B?
Really, it comes down to common sense. Like, are you a good borrower? Do you have a good track record of paying your bills? Do you have good credit scores? Do you have good outside income that supports outside debts? Do you live in the vicinity of this bed and breakfast? If not, it's okay. But most banks want to see that you reside somewhere close to oversee the management. So there's all those factors that play into it. But generally, good credit, a good resume, the ability to put down the down payment, what we call the equity injection, and a good business plan to take over operations. Now, if you're doing a business acquisition, we always need 3 years of tax returns from the selling business, a year-to-date profit and loss, and a balance sheet. Assuming the cash flow supports the new SBA loan, then it's a very viable project from that standpoint.
Can you walk us through how a typical deal is structured when financing a B&B?
So sure, let's just say you find a B&B in Northern California. It's been running for 20 years. The owners want to sell, and you're interested because you like the location. You're in hospitality right now, or you really want to get into hospitality. And then maybe there's a business broker involved in the transaction. And usually you start by getting some information on the business, the property, and then, visiting the property. And then also, once you're building rapport with the broker or the owner, you're going to at some point need to get the financials to see if the bank's going to basically underwrite the cash flow of the business. Is there enough cash flow to support the new debt that's coming in? So I think that's kind of like the way you start. And then the structuring standpoint comes in. Well, maybe sometimes it's been mismanaged, or it's been not cash flowing the way it should. Is there a value add component of the deal? Can we renovate and then increase occupancy and increase the ADR, which is the average daily rate, how much somebody pays per night? So if there's some upside potential, sometimes we can do a projection-based loan. So it's either the easiest way of structuring it is you're buying a cash flowing business, and that cash flow supports the new loan proceeds. We call that debt service coverage ratio. That's step one. What are we working with? We can do any type, as long as we can show that we have a good plan and we're a good borrower, even if it's not cash flowing today, and we have plans to get it operating at max capacity, then yes, we can do that. But so the first is really getting understanding of the business. It's a 7-bed bed and breakfast. They serve breakfast. They have the licensing in place that's needed. Okay, step one. Then step two is, we do a cash flow analysis, make sure the cash flow is there. Step three, personal financial statement from the borrower, and their financial package and resume. And now we go, okay, it's a viable deal. The cash flow's there. On an SBA 7A loan, we can finance up to 90%. On a 504, this would probably be construed as a special purpose property, meaning it doesn't really have a use other than this. They're going to be hit with 85% leverage because of that factor. So sometimes just a pure leverage play, we go with a 7A. So those are how we structure it. We're figuring out all those caveats. Sometimes the plan is to come in and do a heavy remodel. We can actually build in the construction costs sometimes in the loan as well.
What are some common challenges borrowers face when applying for B&B financing, and how can they overcome them?
Many banks don't like hospitality unless it's a flag like a Marriott. We call it a flag like a Marriott, like a named concept or a business model in the hospitality space. If it's a boutique or a bed and breakfast, I would say a lot of the banks just don't like hospitality because it has a higher failure rate when it's non-flag and it's a boutique type property. So identifying the right lender. There's hundreds and hundreds of lenders that participate in SBA, whether they're a preferred lender for the program or they send the files into SBA, which we call non-delegated. Either way, there's a lot of people that participate, a lot of banks. But the reality is there's only probably a good handful that actually are good at B&B properties, inns, and asset classes like that. So what we do is we understand the deal and we take it out to the market. We have established relationships. Like I know who the most probable 3 or 4 lenders for that particular deal. I know who might offer better terms. And then we take it out to the market. Usually we have several conversations, come back to the borrower and let them know, hey, here's where we're looking as far as pricing and terms. And that's where we kind of the starting point of the whole process.
Okay, what's your number one tip for someone looking to buy or expand a bed and breakfast in 2025?
Buying, you got to find a deal that cash flows or has a very big value add opportunity, a lot of upside. Identifying if you're doing a business acquisition, sellers sometimes push back about giving out their business tax returns. That's a need. If you're buying a business acquisition, we need the tax returns. So just understand that that's the game you have to play. That's how you're able to get the highest financing. And if you're looking at converting a property into a B&B, understand the county and the jurisdiction. What kind of permits or licensing? Do you need a transient permit? Do you need something because you're serving food? Every county is a little bit different, but understanding that, because that's how you can get banks to say yes, because some properties could potentially be zoned residential, which is typically a no-no. But if you're able to get those permits in place prior to closing, then yes, you can do SBA. So I think, and then there's other people that are doing expansions. That might be, hey, there's 3 or 4 little cottages in this B&B, and we want to add 2 or 3 cottages. You can also plan those and structure financing for expansion that way. It's a little trickier because you have to get the plans and everything in place prior to closing, but it is possible. We do things like that all the time. If you're looking for SBA financing and you want to talk to our team, you just go to bookwithbeau.com and schedule a call, and we're happy to talk about any sort of SBA financing. We didn't mention that sometimes there's USDA financing for these types of properties, the B&I program. And so our team can help you figure this all out from a financing standpoint. And then, your job is to find a great opportunity, and then we'll help you get it to the finish line. Go to bookwithbeau.com. Thanks so much.
If you're looking to acquire a business, stop scrolling on Biz Buy Sell and visit franchiseresellelistings.com. We'll do a customized search. You can get on our weekly distribution where we're sending new inventory weekly to your inbox. So visit franchiseresellelistings.com and opt in today. See you there.
Hey guys, Beau Eckstein here. If you enjoyed what you saw, please subscribe to this channel. We talk all things financing. I've been in the lending industry for over 20 years, and I'm happy to answer your questions and provide
great content.